Sorry that you've lost your friend. I know how important she was to you. So thank you for being with us this morning. And you described the day that you met Pauline as the day that changed your life. Just explain why it was so important.
I don't know where you got that information. I haven't heard that. The day I met Pauline, the day I changed my life. No, I don't think that is true.
Oh, well, in which case...
Pauline did change my life. I mean, she did, in fact, change my life because I did Shirley V with her. And that changed both of our lives, really, due to her phenomenal work. You may be thinking of she started one morning, and I went, this was on Mykonos, and I went just to show support to watch her do her first shot. And as I watched her talk to rock, which was the Greek equivalent of the wall to which she spoke in Liverpool, as I watched her speak to the camera, I thought, this movie is going to be a hit. Because she was so incandescent, really, in her ability to transfer thought, which is really what acting is about more than anything else, is the transference of thought. And she was just brilliant at that, in everything she did. She and Maggie Smith, I think, were our greatest actresses.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom, I've got that from, and I think you told one of our team, one of our producers, you met at a dinner party. That's where I've got that quote from. So I'm sorry if I've misquoted you, but I do get a sense of just how important she is and was in your life. So I'm sorry if I've misquoted you, but it's lovely nonetheless. And look, talk to me about making that film. We will all know her from that film. It's a beautiful film, and it's an important film, and one that got her all the accolades that she deserved.
Yes, the thing that was so wonderful about it was that it made people, and I think this may have been really Russell's intention too, it made people look again at that person across the fireside they've been living with for years and years. And I'd forgotten what that person was like when they first met, the person with whom they fell in love. And a lot of people, I think, actually did start to look at their partners, their husbands, whatever, of many years in a different way and try to remember what it was like when they first met. That was an important statement.
Yeah, and you talk about her as being one of the great actresses. I mean, those roles were quite sort of girl next door. So just explain how she managed to make them so personal to people, how people identified with her in such a natural way.
Well, that's it. That's the word exactly. Is natural. That she never appeared to be acting. And the secret of acting is not acting, and she was brilliant at that. She just talked, and then you believed her absolutely everything that she said. You believed completely, because you weren't watching an actress. You were watching a person. And that's a phenomenal skill.
So the person that we saw on screen is very much the person that you knew as a friend over many years.
Well, no, because I knew Pauline Collins. I didn't know Shirley Valentine until I met her on the set. We had been friends. We lived in the same road for 30 years. We were neighbours. It was we were in and out of each other's houses, all the time. I mean, it was a very long friendship, and I knew her long before we did Shirley Valentine together.
Mm. Tom, what surprised me is that she never really stayed in a role for a long time. Any of those roles that people will know her from, she made her own. And yet, in some cases, was only in 4 or 5 episodes, maybe a couple of series. But she managed to carve out that character, make it her own, and then moved on. Was that her style?
That's star quality. That's what that is. It's not anything that she intended to do. She started with Upstairs, Downstairs. That's where she first came to public consciousness. And she was just phenomenal in that. She just leapt out of the screen at us. And also in Quartet, which she did a few years ago. Again, just a kind of searing reality to the character. No acting at all. She just was what she had to be. She was phenomenal.
Some lovely tributes from people across the acting profession and, of course, her husband, John Alderton. He said, what I saw was not only her brilliant range of diverse characters, but her magic of bringing out the best in all the people she worked with. She wanted everyone to be special, and she did this by never saying, look at me.
That's right. I mean, she was an absolute delight to work with because there were no airs and graces to Pauline. She just got on with it and was friendly to everyone. She was a nice girl, nice woman, really nice.
How would you like people to remember her?
How would I?
Yeah.
Well, they'll mostly remember her as Shirley. I had an extraordinary experience, and I was walking in the Strand one day years ago, and a woman came up to me, an Irish woman came running up to me, and she said, "Oh, Mr. Conti, I'm so pleased to meet you. I'm so pleased to meet you. I just want to tell you, I've done it. I've done it." And I said, "You've done what?" He said, I've left. I said, "Bugger the lot of you," and I was off. I said, "What do you mean you left your family?" She said, I did. I said, "Oh, and how's it going?" She says, "It's fucking wonderful." She said, "Tell Shirley I was asking for her." And she was off.
Tom, what a wonderful
That's the
way.
effect.
What a wonderful way to leave it. Thank you so much. Nice to see you. Thank you for sharing your memories. Thank you.